Hey, friend.
Hey.
Love that color on you.
Oh, thank you. I went through a whole moment last year where chartreuse was just, it was my color. It was the color of 2024 for me. Not of Pantone, but for me it was.
Wait, what's Pantone?
It was boring. It was like...
Wait, what's Pantone?
You know what Pantone is? It's like the company that does all the color swatches and they do a color of the year every year. You never heard of this? So like millennial pink was the color of the year one year. It's kind of like cerulean from The Devil Wears Prada. So when Pantone calls the color of the year, you see it everywhere. Because there's some like psychology around it that we relate to, I think.
I don't understand how I've lived in this world for 43 years and love fashion and didn't know this.
Well, I mean, to the point about cerulean, you've been consuming the color of the year and you just didn't know it.
So I think this is the color of the year.
Of the year that it was made?
I don't know, because I have two things this color and I've never worn this color.
I know what you mean. Okay, so Oxblood Cherry Cola definitely is having a moment in fashion. Okay. Not by Pantone, but yes, it is the fashion color of the year.
Because I have this jumpsuit, shocking, that I wear, like this jumpsuit sweatsuit that I wear all the time. Okay. It's this color and everyone stops me and is like, that's the color of the year.
Chocolate brown, cherry cola. You heard it on the podcast Justice. Is having a moment for sure. And evidently so is chartreuse, which is what I'm wearing today.
Okay, well, great.
I hate when you do that.
Okay. Big age splurges for 2025.
We are so excited for this episode.
I'm like, I'm brimming with excitement. I'm brimming with big age, auntie, milfy. I feel very milkmaid-ish in this.
Better milkmaid than a handmaid, given the presidential administration.
I feel like we're also doing something tomorrow on Trad Wives.
Yes.
But like this feels like very like Trad Wife adjacent.
Ooh, okay. Not the same thing as thought adjacency.
No, but it's like I could be churning butter or talking about progressive politics.
This is so good, friend. It could be an entree. What if you were like the spook who sat beside the trad wife door and like you pretended to be a trad wife, but really,
okay, but see,
you were infusing feminist values.
Here's the gig. They wouldn't want me. They would know.
No, I don't think so.
I'm too old.
For all we gotta do is get you that goddamn Stanley Cup and that Cool Mom sweatshirt that I talked about, and some Uggs and Lululemon leggings, and you could at least sit at the table. Just give it a try.
I would do it. I would do it for the cause.
Okay.
What? I would do it for the cause.
Thank you.
I'd go to the exercise class. I'd do the thing.
You see what I'm saying? And you have to go exercise. Oh, you go to like Mommy and Me yoga with the kids.
No, those are for the young. No. These women go to like bar Pilates at 10:30.
Oh, that's what they do. Okay.
But that's not trad wives. This is why I'm so confusing. That's suburban.
That's momfluencers.
Yes.
Not to be confused with trad wives.
Trad wives are like on a farm in Texas making their own protein powder.
I don't think that's always... We're going to dig into this in another episode, friends. This is a corner of the internet that clearly Margo and I are very intrigued by. Today it's about big age splurges, though. Oh my God. Okay.
What was your first big age splurge of 2025? And it's only mid-January, but it's like the first week of January. But yes. We've already both made a bunch.
We probably was when that exorbitant amount of money came out of my account for my accountant to do my taxes and to clean up my books, not just for last year, but for the last few years, because I've not been very disciplined. And so it's funny, because I remember years ago, I wanted to work with this person. It's a black woman-owned accounting firm. And she's someone who, I told her business, Little Fish Accounting. You all should look into her. I remember she's someone who just started to really impress me by the brand that she was creating around not just small businesses, but micro businesses and solopreneurship, and how she wanted to cater her business to those clients. And
are we a micro business?
Yes. So in her eyes, she talks about how what the IRS considers to be a small business is actually fairly large by means of revenue, like streams. And so she wants to cater to the little fish.
I love that.
Right? And so perfect niche, perfect brand. All of it spoke to me. Her branding was in the color of the year that year. And I just felt just really sucked into it. It was, yeah. And
maybe it was chartreuse.
So
Oxblood.
I thought to myself, I said, when I went to her website to be able to get like her accounting services for the first time, it was out of my budget. And instead of me saying that's really expensive, I said I can't afford it yet. And so my first splurge was something that I could finally afford, which was to work with my dream accountant. As I say this, I'm just really, wow.
Okay, ask me what mine is.
What was yours?
Digital organizer.
Wait, it's digital?
Well, and actual organizer. Yeah.
So digital in that it's over Zoom?
Oh, no. She comes to my office and organizes my computer.
Oh, no, you lying.
Mm-hmm.
They have that?
Uh-huh. My work, my podcast, my desktop, my photos. What is more big age? So, okay, can I tell the story? I'm not trying to dominate, but this story is so good. I was on vacation, and my middle daughter, Valea's, one of her best friends' family happened to be on the same vacation.
Okay.
Don't ask. Whatever. Boston's small. And Cancun's big, but Boston's small. Okay. And we're at lunch with this lovely family. So wonderful. And the mom is like telling me about how like her big investment in 2024 was hiring this company that helped her reorganize her whole house. And I was like, say less.
Yeah, period.
And I was like, tell me more. Like, what is it like? And she's like, well, they sell services in packages. I'm like, I don't do packages. And she was like, well, it's like hours. You buy a number of hours and you can use them however, blah, blah, blah. And they also do, I was like, could I bill it to my business? And she's like, yeah, if they do your office.
Of course.
I was like, say less. Say less. And I was explaining to her that I can get like 75% of the way there with my house. And then they're like piles.
Yes. Yep. I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
I like don't really know where anything is. I kind of know where stuff is. She kept talking about it. And I was like, it was like I was being like romanced by the idea of a personal organizer. It was like in slow motion. Like, will she do your...
It was like one of those cult, like... one of those ads that
and
you don't
this
quite
woman,
know.
talk about a business. Like she was like, this is how we do it. This is how much it costs. This is the business rate. I bring 2 people in this amount of time. And this, I was like, whoa.
So the packages can be for your computer or your digital life and for...
Correct. So the business rate is a certain rate, and that can be digital organization or your office, like files. So I'm going to use her for both. And then the home rate is for like your kitchen.
Oh, this is... listen, let me tell y'all something. I 100% support you, friend.
Thank you. I'm even embarrassed sharing this.
This is so important. I actually shared this. If folks who are listening follow my channel, I shared it during Vlogmas where I talked about what do you get the person who has everything. And one of the things that I thought of was organizing services because my friend Claire does it. She does it virtually for your like home. I had no idea someone could do it for your computer. That is so smart.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what else?
Congratulations.
Thank you. It feels like a splurge.
Yeah, a very necessary one. Another one I splurged on was my trip to Miami. I'm adventurous, so I just decided on Monday to go on Thursday, and that's what I did. Bought the ticket, my assistant found the hotel, and I went down there and I just had a good time. No agenda, no plans. We talked about it in a previous episode. It was a work trip. I got some work done by the computer. I finished.
You mean by the pool?
I mean by the pool.
I love this for you.
I finished my book while I was down there that I had been reading for the month. And so, yeah, it felt good to privilege that experience and to have the resources to make it happen.
I love that. And it's just so inspiring to me. And I imagine a lot of the people listening or watching, right? That I think, particularly in big age, we become really wedded to our calendars and our schedule.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us feel good. But just kind of doing something on a whim is also really empowering. And you can get really good. I don't know if you did, but you can get really good last minute deals.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were saying you can get really good results.
Both. Well, that. But like, I don't know. I mean, I think you think like you can only get good flight deals and stuff when you plan way ahead, but like sometimes you get good ones.
Because they're trying to fill the plane. So sometimes the last minute travel really, really works to your favor. Mine was kind of moderate based upon how much trips to Miami tend to be. But I'll tell you one thing, I would have spent that money on a piece of jewelry, a coat, a watch. I was spending that money on something material in half a heartbeat. And so it felt good to know that I could privilege the experience over the thing, which I am really, really into this year, friend.
Yeah, I am too. And I also think for those of us who have the privilege of being flexible with our workplaces,
Mm-hmm.
the idea of working in different environments can be really good for creativity.
Yes, and that's what I mean by like it paid off well. Like I got there and there was something about actually being there, not feeling like I had to be present in my life, which draws me to work in a particular way that just freed up so much for me. I felt my most creative. I also felt like I gave myself the opportunity to be idle, and I never do that. You know that. If I'm sitting down on the couch, this could be content. If I am in my office, I got to check my email. It's those parameters around work I'm still working on. And so to be able to be in a new place actually helped me to put my phone down, to close the computer, and to go to dinner by myself and be present
I love that.
and to talk to people.
I love that. Also, for those of you who don't know, Tashira is like, what's that? Honey to bees or something? Like, people just want to talk to her. No one wants to talk to me.
That's not true.
It is true. Tashira, when we were doing, when we were trying to find a retreat center last year and we were like on a trip to find the retreat center, which we didn't find, unfortunately, but you like were in the van back from the airport and you're like, oh, if we ever want to do a retreat in Texas, so-and-so has a retreat. Like, you just meet people.
That's right. I forgot I met that person. I love that. I get it from my grandmother. I just love meeting people and chatting. And,
By the way, I do too. It's just no one chats with
you
me.
absolutely do. And so this comes back also, I think what I want is for my splurges for the year to reflect also my intentions for the year, which was connection.
Okay.
But what about you? What else?
My kids are taking the bus. I paid for the bus, the school bus.
Now, have your kids ever rode the bus?
Ella has.
Okay.
Before the pandemic.
Yeah. Because I know how like school systems are different places.
Yeah, so they are in a school that there is a bus, but you have to pay for it.
Okay.
And we live relatively close to their school. So I've been like, no. It's not worth the money. This is good time to be together. One of us can pick. It's a little too far to walk. So you end up driving and the traffic is terrible. Anyway, it's literally only a mile and a half away. But a drop off in the morning can be 45 minutes.
What, Margo?
Or 40 minutes. Yeah, just because of traffic and
My
like having to take the little one out and walk her to her classroom. And and I kept convincing myself like this is good time with them. This is good time with them, which sometimes it was. But my older daughter who goes to that school, she's my middle, but she's older than the young one, is entering tweendom.
Mm-hmm.
And really wants to be at the door before it opens with her group of girlfriends.
Because their social time
that's
starts
their social
early.
time. And so when we weren't there right at 8, she's in the car and she's like, blah, 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 what time are you going to get there? What time are you going to get there? And the little one is kind of out to lunch. And so they're fighting because, you know, she's not ready and the other one's waiting on the porch. And I was like, you know what? And so Josh and I were doing it, and like he would do afternoons sometimes, but always be on a call, which I don't think is good for them to be around all the time. Or I was doing it and feeling resentful. Anyway, I paid for the bus.
Now, let me just say for folks who do not know this, Margo Lindauer is the most fiscally responsible person that I know. When I tell you this girl will make $1 holler, that is what she's going to do every single time. And so while some may not see this as a splurge, for you,
it's a splurge because it's not necessary. It's like certainly not necessary, but it's going to give us back a lot of time. And I don't want my time with them to feel distracted. I'm trying to be really intentional about the time I spend with them and with myself, and I don't want to feel pulled in many directions.
Because if it's not quality time, does it count?
No.
If you were not present,
if I'm annoyed or frustrated.
Friend, this is a good ass point, and I think there's someone listening who that just freed them in some way.
And what's a bigger splurge than time?
Girl, talk about this. So let's talk about some business splurges when you talk about time, because I feel like in our businesses, we've started to automate or to outsource things for that purpose. So for you, what has been a big time saver in your business?
So as of November, I hired a very, very part-time admin, 5 hours a week, and it has freed up so much time.
Yep.
Because as a sole business owner, you don't realize how much time you're spending just scheduling calls or scheduling meetings or like editing invoices or doing a proposal. I mean, like very like important administrative tasks to run your business, but it's taking away from your substantive work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What about you?
Same thing. Admin has changed my life. And I've had various levels of admin, various time commitments, various companies, but now we're working with the same company.
Amazing.
And I have been so incredibly
Me
impressed.
too.
And it just keeps kind of getting better because we're knowing each other and our workflows are becoming a lot easier and things aren't getting lost in communication. Yeah, that has felt so good because booking travel and scheduling, like calendaring things,
It's like your worst nightmare.
I would rather like run down $3.95 naked in a pair of hot flaming drawers than to have to like really figure out administratively multiple people's schedules for a call. I cannot. My brain doesn't work like that well, and so the convenience of it. Because for you, Emma, it would take you like 2 seconds. For me, I would have to block off half the day to make the meeting happen.
No, I mean, I actually like a lot of administrative tasks because it feels like stuff I can, to our earlier conversation, check off and get a unicorn rainbow in my mind. It feels like stuff I can complete, whereas a lot of the work that we do and I do feels kind of vague sometimes. So I like it, but it takes away from me getting more work. And I've noticed since hiring her, I've gotten more work.
See, so she's now paying for herself, either through peace of mind or monetarily.
No, both. For sure.
Absolutely.
And I feel more comfortable pitching more work.
And because you have somebody who's going to help you to follow up.
Exactly.
So it actually is an investment that tends to grow our business. So yeah, absolutely. The other thing I've done is I've tried to automate a lot more of my content so that I could be present in other parts of my business. And so I have splurged on the video editor. I do not edit hardly any of my videos anymore. If I'm on a time crunch, I will. And also I do enjoy it, but outsourced. I also have been able to outsource a lot of my graphic design and things that I do on like my affiliate marketing, my newsletter. All these things are splurges, but I think worth it. It allows for me to invest in my passion and my hobby and also part of my brand and my business and not lament it. Not think to myself, oh my God, I have to do this thing again today.
Yeah.
It feels good.
I'd say another splurge, but I think I want to kind of dissect the word splurge because splurge seems like extra.
Okay.
But are we saying that it's extra, or are we saying that these are things that are fundamental?
I mean, if the
I don't know. I'm just confused because when I say splurge, it feels like extra, like, oh, you got whipped cream on your hot chocolate as opposed to just getting hot chocolate.
yeah.
But what you're saying is like, I'm investing in myself and in my business to grow my business. That feels like good business decision.
Very true. Very, very true. I think when your mindset is that as a solopreneur, you can do it all, because
Right.
at some point I did do it all.
Yeah.
Now this feels like a splurge.
No, it feels like a splurge to me too.
Yeah, but it's what it takes to grow. It's what it takes to grow and to be healthy simultaneously.
So it's interesting. Maybe that's not the right word. Like maybe it's a big age investment.
Oh, I like that. Is it a big age splurge or is it a big age investment?
Right. So like the big age splurge might be the trip to Miami.
Yeah.
Although even that, or like a big age splurge might be Burkina.
Her name is Berkeisha. I know all your children's names. How you don't know my child name?
Berkeisha is a great addition to your handbag family.
She is. I love her. I love her
But
deeply.
is she a splurge?
Okay. There are things that are splurges for sure.
You don't think
that
a Birkin
have.
is a splurge?
But a Birkin is an investment, friend.
Okay, so Miss Laney would disagree.
Miss Laney's Margo's mom. Invite her to dinner tonight because we have to have this conversation.
She said you fell prey to the Birkin.
You told her about my Birkin.
No, I didn't tell her, Tashira. She follows you.
Oh, that's right. I be forgetting. She saw it.
And you introduced her to the world.
I did.
So anyway.
Birkisha.
Okay, so Birkisha's an investment.
In all seriousness, buying a used Birkin is not as much of an investment as getting a new Birkin. A new Birkin appreciates out the store. But people shouldn't buy it for that. You should buy it because you love it, obviously. But if you ever had to flip a brand new Birkin, you would make money on it for sure.
But will you be able to flip Birkisha? Not that you would ever flip a
Not
child.
I would probably break even if I flipped Birkisha. Yeah. But no, she is mine. She is part of the family. I don't invest in handbags to be able to say that they are investments. There are other ways to invest, obviously.
Like index funds.
Yeah, amen. Ask Warren Buffett. So I think that, I will welcome splurges to the degree, again, that they are something that feels like worthy of it. Because there was a time, friend, where I was splurging and from a place of like a deficit.
You've talked about this.
And I've shared this story before about being on the train and, getting off the train and going into Nordstrom and buying 2 David Yurman bracelets because I had gotten paid that day. And what I needed to do was go to therapy. And so there is something about spending a lot of money when you were unwell that, to me, and my psychology, have gone hand in hand in life. And I've had to do a better job of divorcing those two things because I was spending to fill a void.
But we're not doing that anymore.
We're not doing that anymore. But also, I think they're spending for a status symbol as well. Have you heard about the Workin? Speaking of Birkisha, have you heard about the Workin?
No, but did you read my friend Farron Krenzel's article about?
No.
Oh, I have to link it. She carried around over $40,000 worth of bags in New York and then wrote about it.
Pray tell this story. What was that experience like?
And like how different. I need to reread it because I actually just skimmed it. But like basically, like she had a Kelly, she had all these like very status oriented bags, and kind of analyzing whether she was able to get in places or talk to people because of the bag she was holding. Wow. What do you think about that?
This is hard. So over our break, folks may have saw the 60-minute special with the current, I think, artistic director or creative director at Hermes. He's like the heir to the Hermes family. And he talked about the amount of time it takes to make the bag, but also that the bag is made individually by one person, start to finish, who hand stitches it. And that person has gone through a 2-year apprenticeship to be able to make the bag. That for me is some bomb ass shit. I'm sorry. As someone who loves fashion and history and art, I think that is an amazing story to tell. They were in the atelier. You saw people actually stitching it. They're in France. They're not, God forbid, in a sweatshop. And hopefully they're getting paid very well for the price that the bag goes. But on the flip side of it, we know it doesn't cost thousands of dollars to make because they have to make a profit. And they play games about who is allowed to get it. And he was very, he didn't want to be very transparent about what the process is like. Right? They don't do any marketing. And so this has worked very well for them. The Holy Grail bags, the Kelly, the Birkin, and some would say the Constance. You got to work hard to be able to get. I got mine secondhand.
No, you got your Kelly in the store.
No, I went to Fashion File. What you talking about?
I remember. Am I misremembering?
Oh, my Picotin.
Yeah.
My Picotin I got in the store, which also has become very hard to get. But my actual Birkin,
your Birkin, you got it
from Fashion File.
Yeah.
Fashion File. And so do I have an issue with who is allowed to buy it and why? Of course. You called me out before. Like, why would you want to play that game? 100%.
I lovingly made
Yeah,
the
no, you would never
question.
drag me.
Yeah.
No, you
I'm
you
just
would never
inquiring.
drag me. Yeah, which is more
Because
than
it doesn't
fair.
make any sense to me how you can gatekeep a bag.
Well, it says the people who sued the company. But I think on the topic of the working, I like disrupting that. And that is what this bag has done. Look, there are dupes everywhere all the goddamn time of every single thing.
So what's the working?
The working is the
Walmart.
Birkin
Okay.
that went viral on TikTok. And what many of us have said is, why did that go viral? Because there are dupes of the Birkin and the Kelly at Aldo right now, on Shein right now. I think this just like it kind of hit the algorithm at the right time. And some would argue that the bag is well made. But some folks are very upset because they feel like they have spent time working to get this bag. They played the game. It has been a big age or a splurge for them. And now
everyone and their mom has
gets
a
to have
workin.
it from Walmart.
Is it actually called the workin?
No, it was called something else on the website, but Walmart has since taken it down. I didn't order that one. I ordered a Kelly dupe. So stay tuned. I may have a review.
Do you think Hermes will sue Walmart?
I actually don't think so. I think part of this, they're probably in the background like giggling and snickering over. It's a very elitist company, so they may think it's beneath them to sue Walmart.
Oh, probably.
But also Walmart is taking it off the website, and Walmart didn't create it. Walmart is now a marketplace of goods. So who knows? If they will do so retroactively for the sale of it. But in some weird way, because Hermes does not have a marketing department, they don't advertise, I think that this, even if it's not always the best press, it is conversation about the brand, and they see the benefit of that for sure.
Right, because like the quote, like any press is good press or something.
Exactly.
And if they're selling out of the I don't actually have any issue. My mom is so offended by the price of Birkin bags and Hermes products.
Okay.
And she talks about it like with some frequency, even though she doesn't have any. And that doesn't really bother me. I mean, luxury goods are luxury goods. You can price your stuff at whatever price people are going to spend.
Exactly.
Right? Like there's some cars that are $20,000 and there's some cars that are $250,000. I mean, I don't care. Yeah. But what I do care about is gatekeeping who gets to drive the $250,000 car. Like, why are my American US dollars less valuable than someone else's?
And that's actually a good point, too, because we know that Hermes isn't the only company that does this. I don't want to get too far off the topic of today's episode, but Rolex does it. Porsche does it.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, there are certain Porsches that you can only get if you were on a waiting list. And when you buy it, from my understanding, you have to agree to not resell it. And if you do resell it, they will ban you from ever being able to buy a Porsche again. So these are the ways of like the ultra rich. And I see your face is becoming very miscellany. It's a face of disgust. And so the question is like, one person's splurge is another person's like pearl clutching. I would never, ever, ever do that.
No, I don't care. So I think where maybe I'm misunderstood is I actually don't care where people spend their money. What I do care about is companies saying that certain people don't get to buy their products because of X, Y, and Z.
Exactly. And that's why I say go off on the working, go off on the dupes. Because here's the thing, a counterfeit and a dupe is not the same thing. The bags do not say Hermes. It's not on a stamp. It's not, nothing about it is fake. What it is a dupe, and dupes exist all the time. And for a company like Hermes, who does have these kind of practices, go off. And I also think about people like Dapper Dan. Do you know Dapper Dan? From New York, and he became famous because he took counterfeit Gucci fabric and would make all these bomb designs in the 80s, right? And so all of these Black celebrities, track stars, athletes, boxers, rappers, etc., became known for their Dapper Dan outfits.
I love that.
And at first, I think he kind of got into some legal trouble with the company, only for the company to come back around years later and feature his work in their runway shows, because he was creating a moment in culture that could not be denied. So some of this is disrupting the mainstream, and I'm 100% here for it.
Okay. Another big age splurge.
Another big age splurge that I have fallen into, and I didn't think I was this girly, Margo, is the Peloton.
I also have a Peloton. Do you know that you can watch Netflix on it now?
No, stop lying.
Entertainment. Go to the entertainment screen.
What? The Peloton has just given me life and joy, friend. That and my other splurge, which is not really a splurge, but it is something that I've enjoyed, my water subscription. And I just fill up my Stanley and I put my electrolytes in there and I think of you.
Well, I'm so glad I made you such a basic but I am glad you're well hydrated. Your skin looks amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. Those are big age splurges.
Thank you. What about you?
So the two that I can think of, one, I'm like pretty dogmatic about not taking horrific flights anymore. And so like the 4-hour red eye.
Talk about it.
Or like the 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. Where you have to be there at 4 a.m. I'm just not doing it anymore. And so we used to do the craziest flights to get the cheapest ticket. And I'm just not doing it. So that's one. And the other is, like, for example, we were invited to this festival over the summer and a lot of our friends who are going are camping.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, no.
No, ma'am. No ham. No turkey.
No, I'm not going to do that. And it felt a little,
I know.
I was like, oh, I can't hang. And I was like, no, I literally can't sleep on the ground of.
You will never be in green recovery.
Oh, I will not be. I will be negative Nargo.
The whole time.
Self-identified. So those are definitely some. And I've also done some splurging with exercise.
Like the classes that you've gone to. Oh, that's good. That's
to get
good
my
stuff.
body moving again.
I love that. Yeah. So the travel part for me definitely resonates because I had a conversation with myself in December that if I can't travel with ease, then I can't afford the flight and I can't afford the trip. Because I think at the point now where these airlines are charging us to breathe on a plane and putting all of these add-ons, that the basic fare is just very difficult. Also the same thing with luggage. The amount of suitcases I've had that have broken on trips. The last time it happened was November. And I was just like, forget this. I am investing in some quality luggage. I cannot do this any longer.
Oh, yeah.
So traveling and traveling well, because I do enjoy doing it, is something that I have made a big age splurge and investment in. But my question for you, friend, especially for young people, is how do you define a splurge versus like materialism or overconsumption?
A splurge feels like something that enhances an experience that's of value. And materialism or overconsumption feels like irresponsible spending or consuming. What about you?
Well, then what makes something irresponsible because you can't actually afford it?
You can't actually afford it. You don't actually need is a hard one, but like you're not going to utilize it, or you maybe only are going to use it once. Like it's a very like short-lived experience. But again, that's also very personal because some people would argue that the cost of certain concert tickets are over, like materialism, over consuming, overpriced. But for a lot of people, those same concert tickets were like one of the best experiences in their life.
Yeah.
And so who's to say? But I think I think if you take experiences out,
Okay.
and it's a piece of clothing or a object that is out of your budget, feels unnecessary, you're not going to use, or you're only doing it for status, then it's overconsumption.
I agree. I think you just gave us actually, in just off the dome bars, you gave us almost a checklist to go down, right? Before we make what I would call an investment. Hopefully a splurge is much more of an investment in yourself or in something that you really want.
An experience or a product that you're going to really value.
It's about, can you afford it? Will you use it? Do you value it? And are you doing it for yourself or for other people? And no one knows how much I paid my accountant. No one knows besides the fact of me telling you on the podcast today, because I think that would resonate with you and hopefully our audience. But I have no way of showing that off as a status symbol that I finally got to work with the accountant that I've always wanted to work with. Now, the Birkin is different, but arguably, even as I think about my wardrobe more and how I have really made a choice to consume consciously, my goal is always quality over quantity. And so I could have on head to toe a full bust down look of designer things and no one would ever know, because I'm trying to get the long-term benefit out of those items, because I value them, because I don't intend to have those things as status symbols. Nothing wrong with logos, but what I do recognize is that things that can be hyper logoed sometimes are just for the moment and not for the long term.
How do we help young people make this distinction?
Girl, I need your help, because I have a sibling right now who is preparing for prom, and the price of these prom dresses and the expectations that young people have, because I think of social media culture, is insane. And I know people listening probably know this, but Margo, girls are spending $1,000 on custom prom dresses.
I can't. I spent that like on my wedding dress.
Do you see what I'm saying? One of my wedding dresses was $1,000, friend. Yeah.
One of.
I mean, but it still count. And I'm 42 with just as many fucking jobs. So I get to have $1,000 wedding dress.
No, of course.
You know, no, I'm frustrated about the fact that someone would think
that that's normal.
That's normal.
But also, like, this is part of the problem. Like, she thinks it's normal because it's been normalized for her.
I do not blame her at all, because she's quoting me a price that her friends have paid. I reached out to a designer myself. I said, no, that's crazy. I was like, I'm the big sister. Let me just reach out. I know people. A designer that I know quoted me the same thing. No shade, no tea. Get your coin, because that is actually the going rate right now, Margo.
But that is not even, if a dress is $1,000, then you add shoes, hair, makeup, nails.
The prom send-off party with the balloons and the balloon arch and the pictures and we got to have custom t-shirts that say prom 2025. You got to have a red carpet now. You got to have a professional photographer before you even get to prom. Clearly. What about the Maybach you got to rent?
What? We went on a bus to prom.
Girl. And I also recognize that this is like very focused in a particular part of Black culture.
Well, I don't know if it's only Black culture.
Do you think everybody is doing this?
Well, I don't know, but I imagine the send-off thing and the balloons and the photographer. I mean, these Black students are also going to school with white students, like,
so they're also being influenced.
And they're all on social media. I mean, I don't know. I guess my friend Megan has 2 girls who are in college now who went to prom and did not do all of that, but they went to boarding school, so it was a little different.
Yeah. I think it can be local to where people grow up, but I just think that there's something about social media, obviously, that is creating a false expectation that sometimes the splurge is not the normal everyday experience. And that's why I'm happy you made the point, the distinction between splurges and investments.
But also, like, is the goal to have good pictures or is the goal to have a good time?
Girl, no, it's always the pictures. It's always the pictures.
Tashira, that's so sad.
It's so sad. Because nobody could be dancing. Nobody could actually be having a good time. Because how could you? Because you're on your phone the whole time documenting the fake time that you have, and so you're not going to have a good time in the real time.
But like, people, life is fun. It can be. We can document it sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
But like doing stuff for documentation is not fun.
That is what we are training our young people. And
well, we're going to have to unlearn that.
Yeah, we
How are we going to do that?
Margo said it.
I don't understand. How are you going to dance? How are you going to like make out in the corner? I don't know. Prom is so much more than Instagram.
No, and we didn't have it. I think cell phones, like I had like one friend that had a cell phone and I wanted a pager. My mom said, hell no, because drug dealers have pagers.
Well, she was right. At the time, she was right. And then doctors had pagers, who are also drug dealers, by the way.
So then that came full circle. So, I mean, like the idea that we would do something performatively, maybe for like our friends.
No, like I have pictures from prom. Like there were pictures.
Yeah, of course.
And there was like a send-off thing, like all the parents like got us on the bus. But
no, it's a different world, friend. And I think what I'm grateful for is for a platform like ours and others. I know we both love the financial diet, and I think Chelsea Fagan gives some good advice and kind of puts things into perspective. There are other online platforms that I have been enjoying that really talk about the value of slow moments. Alex L's platform does that. The values of what Alex calls an easeful life.
I love her platform so much.
And it doesn't mean we can't have the thing, but what it does mean is we can define what investments and splurges look like for us, and they don't all have to be material.
Yeah, and so if we're saying that splurges are kind of like add-ons to experiences that we can afford or within our lifestyle, then ease, time, like spending money for ease, spending money for time, spending money for quiet.
Yeah.
Is a really valuable splurge.
Especially in a world where we are all so overstimulated. So that adds on to like your fifth question that we can ask ourselves.
Yes.
About our splurges.
Okay. Have you ever, but you didn't answer the question. Have you ever been able to access a space because of something you were wearing? Or
Oh yeah, about your friend who walked around. I get treated very different with that bag. Very differently. Now, not by everyday people, because I don't
think everyday people would know
the internet makes us think everybody knows what a Birkin is.
Right.
And they don't.
Yeah.
But there's something about when I go into a mall, when I go to a luxury or designer environment.
And you have your Birkin.
It is a moth to a flame, to the point where I actually want to leave it at home because I just want some peace.
Then what's the point of even having Birkisha? If you can't take her out to play.
I know. Trader Joe's.
What do you
We're
do
going
with
to Target.
Her? What do you do with her at dinner? Like, do you put her on the floor?
Absolutely not. But I wouldn't do that with my pocketbook from Payless, because that's bad luck, Margo.
Right.
And
Okay.
we've
Right.
had that discussion.
Right. So do you put it on your chair?
Yeah. I left the restaurant one time because the person told me I couldn't put my purse in a chair. And I said, well, bitch, I don't have to take this. I'm going home.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. So in the fashion space, do you feel like maybe it's a business investment to have a Birkin?
No, because I think that you can invest in your brand by not having a Birkin. And to be completely honest with you, I was hesitant to even talk about the bag, because I think there is a certain amount of blowback that can come from having things that don't feel attainable to everybody. You know, I think your audience can love you when you're shopping at H&M, not so much when you're at Hermes, because it feels like you are part of something that they are not, and you are no longer relatable. I'm grateful because my community, when I posted about the bag, they named the bag Birkisha, right? Like when I posted about it, the comments on my YouTube video were so, I just can't even describe that moment and how it made me feel. The comments were more important than the damn bag. And so I think people recognized it for me as this moment and a milestone for me as like a fashion lover and someone who had worked so hard to be able to achieve that they were like, we see you, sis. Somebody said, that's our Birkin.
Oh. And so I think the Birkin is a splurge.
Yeah.
Is one of your big age splurges.
It's a big age splurge, and I do not regret it one moment.
I'm so happy for you.
But now, is it a business investment? Hell no. I would never say that, but I'm grateful for it.
I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. What's your next big splurge? What's something you want to splurge in 2025?
I want to get a beautiful watch.
Bitch. Yes.
I want to get a beautiful watch, and I may sell a bag to do it.
Okay. I think I know which bag you're going to sell.
I love that bag.
I know. But if it's not bringing you joy day to day.
No, it is. It doesn't bring me joy day to day because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, it has to go then.
And I can't put it on a chair.
Maybe we should look for it when we go to New York soon.
I think I'm going to bring it.
Okay.
To see if I can sell it.
Okay. And you can. So we'll report back, people, and we're gonna vlog while we are in New York as well. It'll probably be over on my channel. We're going soon to go dress shopping. This is my last round. I promise. We will come home with a fucking dress now. This is getting out of control.
Purity Coffee is our sponsor for today. We love Purity Coffee. This is a box of the regular dark roast sachets, which are like tea bags. So I bring this on travel. But Purity is an incredible brand. We're really thrilled to be partnering with them. I drink their coffee every single day.
And my partner has been enjoying especially the sachets in the evening. And what she does is she puts it in hot water in a very beautiful kettle that she got me for my birthday. But she drinks the decaffeinated one.
The blue one.
The blue one. And I am so happy about that, Margo, because, as she's on your Whoop team and tracking her sleep, I have been reminding her, you're not going to get in the green zone tonight, baby. You need to stay off the caffeine at 4 p.m. And so she's been loving the decaffeinated one.
It's really good.
It's really good.
One of our mutual friends sent me the decaf, and I was like, oh, decaf. But it is really good. I had some today because I had enough coffee, but still wanted more. And it tastes delicious, but no caffeine. It's really amazing. I can't say enough good things about them. We are only partnering with brands that we actually love.
Yeah, for sure.
And typically are small or women-owned, and this is both. So Purity Coffee, just as 20 at checkout for 20% off your first order. They also have discounts for subscriptions, which if you like their beans or like their sachets, you can easily do at checkout as well. But put in just as 20 for 20% off and enjoy and let us know what you think.
I'm gonna put this in my bag. A big H splurge I would love to have this year is the wedding of my dreams.
You deserve it.
For sure. And then, not this year, but God willing, in the near future, I want someplace that I can go to just get away that is my own. So I want a little cabin. I don't know if it's a little home in Miami, a little condo in Miami Beach. It has to be someplace that feels like ours, my partner and I and our family, that is part of an investment portfolio also, but where we can get away. And that's what I crave.
I love that. I support that.
Thank you, friend.
So one of my big H splurges is maybe not even a splurge, but it's an attitude.
Ooh, come on. I like this.
So for those who haven't seen our episode from last year, I don't give a fuck. That's a splurge for me, is like being myself in all the spaces that I am, which includes kind of wearing what I want when I want, whatever I'm doing. And so it just like I really enjoy getting dressed up, and I really enjoy celebrating, and I really enjoy feeling good. And so allowing myself to do that with more frequency, where maybe I would have told myself that I was being superficial before, now I let myself enjoy it.
I love that for you.
And so, I don't know, like even yesterday I got my hair cut, and I went directly from therapy to get my hair cut. I love my hairdresser. He's just so funny. And his husband is now manning the phones because my hairdresser can't keep a front desk person because he's so tough. So his like really stoic, amazing, funny Israeli husband is manning the phones, and John is doing the hair. Anyway, and so I was a little late, and I was like, sorry, I'm coming in from therapy and blah, blah, blah. And so we're talking, and John is explaining how he was so depressed this morning because he got an $8,000 dental bill that he wasn't expecting. He thought he had dental insurance, blah, 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 blah. And but he's like laughing, and I was like, wow, that is a quick depression getting out of. Like, you should like sell that fairy dust that. And his husband was like, you should just come here instead of going to therapy. And I was like, you know
That's what a
what?
lot of people see their barber and their hairstylist as, for
I was
sure.
like, maybe I should just get my hair done.
And get your hair done once a week. Do you get your hair done once a week?
No.
Oh, you should. You should.
I mean, maybe my big age splurge for 2026.
I'm just saying. So my time with Leslie, it just is so
So
meaningful.
here's the issue with that. I would love to, but my hair lasts 36 hours.
What do you mean?
See, I don't know if you know this about white girl hair.
No, I haven't had it.
So, right. So I can get a blowout that looks really good.
Okay, today is super straight,
Right. So,
shiny.
Right. But tomorrow I'm going to wake up an oily mess.
Mm.
So I don't know how much your haircut costs that you get to do once a week or once every 2 weeks. I imagine around $50.
Yep, you got it.
That's what a blowout costs for 2 days.
God dang.
So I
it's
can't
like
do
it's fleeting. Look, maybe it's the year like the Dyson. Maybe you like get some really fancy hair tools.
I have the Dyson.
Oh shit. Well, I'm late.
But maybe I get the Dyson that curls.
Yeah.
But then I have to do it.
So you don't like doing your hair?
I don't not like doing my hair. It just takes a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I digress. But it just made me think of like, oh, part of this is like I like celebrating. And I like feeling good when I'm celebrating.
Absolutely. And you deserve that splurge.
Thank you. Thank you.
You do, friend.
Okay.
And you look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. So do you. Okay. In our I don't give a fuck / dumb shit / we did tell everyone we weren't doing a dumb shit session, but this one I feel like we just have to talk about.
It's just dumb. Go ahead.
Well, I think you should introduce it because you understand it better, but apparently we live in a world now where there are no fact checkers.
Facts don't matter.
But
Kellyanne Conway had been told us that. Kellyanne Conway got on the news and they were talking about the size of the crowd
and alternative facts
at Trump's first inauguration. And the people told her, they said, Kellyanne, these right here are facts. And she said, no, you have alternative facts. And I think Mark Zuckerberg believed her when she said that because he recently said that they are getting rid of fact checking on Meta, which would include Facebook and Instagram, to my understanding. Now, for folks who don't understand why this is a big, big deal, it is because of the way that between Russia, Christian nationalists, and other domestic terrorist groups have been working in very nefarious ways on these here interwebs. What it means is that conspiracy theories like QAnon and other things, the people who believe that the earth is flat, the COVID deniers, can now run amok. And what they claim is that they would allow for the community to do the fact checking. But what we know is that we're all seeing a very individual internet. We talk about that all the time here, a very bespoke internet that is based upon your individual algorithm. So you're likely seeing what you already agree with. So how can you fact check it when you agree with it? You've already drank the Kool-Aid. There will be no one to actually raise their hand and say, wait a minute, I don't think chlorophyll cures COVID. Like, wait a minute, we shouldn't be drinking raw milk. There won't be people who do that. And today, the internet, social media is reality. What we scroll past is what we think.
That's what people think, right? Even if it's not real.
Even if it is not real.
So I don't know about you. I know you're not really on Facebook that much, but I like logged on this week randomly because my Instagram cross-post to Facebook. I don't even know how that happened. I don't remember.
They've been doing that.
And I logged on and it felt so AI-y.
Yeah.
It didn't even look right. It was like ads and things about TV shows that I don't watch and celebrities and the news that didn't happen. Like it was something about what's his face? Patrick Mahomes' wife having had their baby, but she hasn't had the baby yet. So it's like fake news. Or that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were engaged. I don't think they're engaged. And so I was like,
wow, friend.
So I was like, if this is where people are getting their news, like it's already wrong.
It's already wrong. That's so funny you should say that because I logged into Facebook, I think last month I had to like reconnect my something to something, right? And it always takes you through Facebook, which owns Instagram or Meta, Facebook, Instagram. And so I thought that my Facebook had been hacked because I was like,
It
what
looks
is
so
this
different.
that I'm looking at? But you're so right. My eyes have not been trained in that feed, that AI speak
Yeah, and
that's
like
showing up.
now it prioritizes, I don't know, yeah, like prioritizes top contributors.
What?
So people who actively engage in different sub platforms, their
No,
comments get
Margo.
prioritized and a little top contributor tag next to them.
We talk a lot about how this all affects young people, but when we bring Facebook into the chat, we have to talk about
Older people.
older people.
Like your grandma.
This is very, very important. My grandmother, she sees my Instagram because she's on Facebook through my aunt's profile. And I remember one day there was like a reel essentially on autoplay where it was going kind of from thing to thing. And it was all these lies about basketball players and their wives or their girlfriends, claiming so and so had gotten a divorce, so and so was in a relationship. And I was like, Grandma, that's not true. And she doesn't even care that much about it at all. It's the autoplay and it's the misinformation happening at the same time.
So I'm so confused about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I think there is like a mass exodus at some level from Instagram and Facebook of some left-leaning people, which I totally understand and may be part of that. But then if those people leave, then there's going to be like a group of people on Facebook, a different group on Instagram just trying to sell stuff, and then a group on Blue Sky, and then a group on Trump's Parlor or whatever.
The Truth Social or
Truth
something
Social.
else?
Yeah. And so then it's like there was something equalizing about at least having just a few platforms, and the TikTok might get banned, but now it might not get banned because Trump likes TikTok and TikTok helps certain businesses. I don't know. But like if each of these platforms is only attracting a certain group of people, like young people are going to TikTok, elder millennials are going to Blue Sky, trad wives are going to Instagram, elderly people, I'm making broad generalizations. But then there's actually no cross communication at all.
At all. And then we become even more entrenched. And I'm bringing this book right now, and it talks about what happens is when this kind of division occurs, we become so much less able to handle any criticism of our ideas or difference of thought.
Yeah.
And the second someone says something that we don't agree with, we just simply scroll past it. We just shut them down. We just unfollow them.
Well, it brings up a really good point because I think we're losing the ability to disagree.
Girl, I was thinking about that so much because before social media, before the internet, if you went to a party and you didn't agree with someone, what did you do?
You had to talk to them.
You had to talk. If you went to dinner at a loved one's house, if, I don't know, you were besides a coworker at a meeting or at a conference for the day, you found a point of commonality. Now, I say that with the caveat that some views are just downright hateful and violent, and we know how
and you
that's
don't have to take it.
Right?
That's not what we're saying, but we're saying that like along the margins where we can disagree over a policy or disagree over an agenda item or disagree over a curriculum or a fashion statement or, right? Like stuff that like minds could disagree on.
Exactly.
We have lost the ability to do so with kindness.
With kindness or at all. Quite frankly.
Right, because it's like better not to engage, right? So you don't like, if you ever read the comments on like any newspaper article or any post that is like in any way controversial, and they go so dark so quickly.
And it's one of those things that I don't know that we're going to have the ability to get back without any real regulation. And obviously right now there is no interest in that, especially with the new administration.
Yeah. I mean, I can even think of some of our content where like the conversation we were having was actually really interesting and subtle, but because we could only provide a short snippet to promote the episode, there were a lot of people who jumped to conclusions about both of us.
Yeah, that has definitely happened before in multiple ways. And now, once again, not having the ability to check facts. I remember maybe about 2 or 3 years ago when this whole like black, what I now know but didn't know then, manosphere podcast space was starting. There was a woman who I was just having just a random conversation with, and she was like, somebody really needs to be like determining who gets a platform. Why are they just being allowed to get a microphone and say some of these things? And now we know this has all been about culture wars, the gender wars, and somewhere along the way, spewing a lot of misinformation or disinformation as well. These platforms can do. And so I've been thinking to myself lately, how do you regulate that? Obviously, I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in divergent thoughts and views. But what do we do? I think this is an issue of our generation. I
I don't
think elder
know.
millennials have to take this seriously because we are the ones who remember a life without the
I do
internet.
too. And we can't just look to Mark Zuckerberg and
He ain't
Elon
got to give.
Musk.
He ain't got to give. Neither one of them have it to give, honestly. What they're worried about is money.
Or their one opinion. I mean, I don't agree with either of them, but I think we hold some of these people up. And like Elon Musk started by making cars,
Yeah.
and now he owns Twitter. So or X, like one of the biggest platforms of all time. But that's not how he started. He's not a free speech expert. He's not a First Amendment scholar.
Yeah. I mean, in some would.
Zuckerberg started Facebook because he couldn't find a date in college.
And stole the technology
From
from
someone-
his friends.
yeah.
So
Oh, right, I forgot that part.
Many things that we can actually question about these people. But I mean, such is the mediocrity of white men that are allowed to have so much wealth and access because
But I
of their
guess the
privilege.
question is, what would some of these folks have done before the internet, like the manosphere folks, which I
Yeah.
think bridges race
Yeah.
and gender, actually. But
Yeah,
like,
it does. It does.
but like, where would they have gone? How would they have had a platform before YouTube?
Well, the question is, would they have had a gripe before YouTube? Because I think some of the division is being stoked by the internet. And I'm not saying that we lived in a utopia. Clearly, we did not.
So it's that women or people of color or marginalized identities have experienced success that makes men feel vulnerable.
That's the way I've heard it described time and time again. And I had a cis hetero married black man who during the campaign, he's like my godfather, was trying to do some outreach to folks who were kind of susceptible to this black manosphere space. And he was like, you know what? Just I kept feeling like there was this resentment of black women. And he was like, I just could not put my finger on it, but it was almost like there was this resentment of what they saw as success. And instead of figuring out how to bridge that gap or point the finger where it really belongs, which is probably much more about systemic and socioeconomic conditions, without a structural analysis, you think it is us versus them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to see more and more of that.
So I saw this meme, speaking of which, where there was a creator who was commenting on the manosphere, and a bunch of people in the manosphere apparently were like talking about like, well, the left just doesn't claims that they don't need men. And their response was like, who's going to protect the women? And it's like, sir, who's harming the women?
I saw that on TikTok. Yeah.
And I was like, right. Like, we actually don't need men. We actually don't, other than for procreation, which I'm sure, which can happen other ways, I'm sure. like I love the men in my life so deeply. But this idea of like feeling vulnerable because you're losing power, and then the response is by actually perpetrating violence.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Is exactly what we're seeing play out in real life.
That's so true, Ryan. It's a bunch of wealthy white men with power acting out, and we said that before.
But now it's not just white men. I think it's a bunch of men.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I think it's the power part.
Oh, the power.
When we talk about Jeff, Mark, and Elon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's they are the Beyonce, the Kelly, and the what's the other girl name? Oh, girl, I didn't mean to forget her name. Michelle. Michelle Williams. I'm so sorry. I'm sure there is a Latavia equivalent as well that's part of this trifecta that is the corporatocracy that is now
it's the
shaping.
2 dudes who did crew at Harvard who Mark stole their idea.
Yeah, probably.
The brothers.
Probably. And so we are seeing a mass power grab right now. And I would argue there is more of this to come. So you all sound off about the entire episode. Your big age splurges. What are your investments in a big age? And what are we going to do about the internet streets, y'all? We have a
And what
lot
are we
to
going to do
discuss.
as elder millennials? How are we going to help our young sisters?
I agree during this time. You all stay tuned. We will see you next time.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to Justice. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to learn more about our podcast, be sure to check us out on our website at justicepodcast.com. You can also reach out to us there if you want to be featured on the show or if you have a business or a product that you think would be a good fit for our audience. Thanks again for listening.